Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Sizzle. Today is June 18th. I don't know why I always feel like I have to say the date, but for some reason I feel like I have to announce the date when I start these things. In 10 years' time, when we look back and think about the Sizzle that Dana did, you'll remember now. I said it was June 18th, right? So tonight, I asked Dana to share with us. I don't know why. I just felt inspired to ask her to share with us, and I wasn't sure why I felt inspired to ask her. So I asked her what she had for us to share, and you're never going to believe what she said, but she said, I want to share about persistence. And I thought, bingo, like clearly that's what is meant to be shared tonight. So I don't know if it's for me, if it's for you, if it's for her. I don't know, but we're going to roll with it and we'll see, over the next 30 minutes what Dana enlightens us with, and then we'll chat about it. So Dana, I'm going to toss it to you.
Great. Thank you, Kenzie. Yeah, it was I got the message from Kenzie. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what I'm gonna share. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to talk about, but that's pretty much the only thing that's been keeping me going lately is that I just don't ever fully stop. So okay, Kenzie, can I screen share?
Sure. You just hit at the bottom, just hit share, and then
Okay.
pick what desktop. Yep.
Because of course I made a PowerPoint.
Love it.
You know. Okay, now I just gotta hit. All right. Play from beginning. There it is. Okay, you guys. Maybe. It's coming. There it is. Okay. All right. So I do PowerPoints because that's how I stay focused and on topic. Because if I just write notes, I'll be like, whoo, here and then there and then here and then there. And then 2 days later, I'll be like, oh, I forgot this. So PowerPoints just keep me a little bit more focused. So, and I will try not to be too long-winded with my stories. Okay. So what is persistence? Okay. The definition is continuing firmly or obstinately in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition, or continuing to exist or endure over a prolonged period. So after I couldn't figure out why I told Kenzie persistence. I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, probably because that's the only thing that's been getting me through day to day these past maybe 2 months. I don't know. But then I read the definitions and I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty much me to a T. And every single one of my family members will tell you that I am an obstinate pain in the ass. That's just who I am. I mean, I've had 2 horses in my life, and one of our springs, because I didn't ride most of the winters because Michigan winters suck. And I was on him one spring and he did not want me to ride. Like, he would walk, he would trot, he would not go into a lope or a canter. Like, he was obstinate to the point where if I would ask him to, he would literally stop dead in his tracks and lay down and try and roll me off. And I'm like, dude, what the heck? But me being just as obstinate, I'd jump off, pull him back up, get back on and try again. Then he bucked me off and I landed on my head. And my dad kind of took him. He's like, that's enough. We're going to call a trainer. And I'm like, but no, I got to get back on. He's like, you just landed on your head. You're not getting back on right now. But that's me. Okay. You can look at it as obstinate. You can look at it as enduring. You can look at it as being bullheaded, however you want to look at it. But it's just keep going one step after another and just don't stop. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. So for me, right, I'll just continue with the story of my horse. I mean, it's like, okay, that defeated me that day when I got bucked off and landed on my head. And, I mean, it's like, at least I had my dad there to kind of pull me away from it and just be like, you're done right now. And I'm like, no, I'm not, it can't be done. But it was one of those things where it's like that horse and I had so many setbacks, one after another after another. He had an injury that coulda, woulda, shoulda killed me, quite honestly. but we endured through it. I helped him recover, and I helped him rehab, and I helped him get better. And, that was the following spring. So the first spring I had him was when he bucked me off. The second spring I had him, he had this injury. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get like a good season with this horse? But I persisted, and we got a trainer, and we worked through it. And, it's like, we never really won in the show ring. I think we got a couple seconds, maybe seconds or thirds, but it was just the constant moving forward. And, it's like those defeats. This quote from Maya Angelou can apply to me in so many different areas of my life that it's not even funny. I can look at it as a parent and see it, see the times that I felt defeated, but I still had to learn from it, and I grew from it, and I feel like I became a better parent. And I can see that apply to me when I went through grad school to become a chiropractor, right? It's like I failed exams. I'm not going to tell you I was a straight A student, because I totally wasn't, okay? I went back to school as a 30-year-old, and I had 2 kids. So I was definitely not a straight A student, because my family was still my first priority. So school came second. So it's like I could have taken those defeats. In fact, I actually failed a class, and I had to repeat the class. But failing that class with that particular professor was such a phenomenal lesson for me, because that professor was one that every single student complained about and said, he's so awful. He's so mean. He doesn't teach the content. He just, and just thing after thing after thing. And he doesn't care about helping us learn, and blah, 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 blah. And I just kind of stopped, and I'm like, okay, I've got to look at this from a different viewpoint, and moved my seat, went and sat in the front row instead of the middle. I was one that I never wanted to be front row. I wanted to just kind of like be part of the crowd and just, hide. I didn't want to be front and center, but I moved my seat. I sat in the front row, and I paid attention to every single stinking word that came out of that guy's mouth. And I took notes like you would not believe. And I didn't stop. And that was the class that I came closest to getting an A in. And the next semester, that professor taught me a lot, not only, academically in his class, but just kind of like how to see people from a different perspective. Even if everybody else is saying, all of this crap about them, he was such an incredibly nice guy. And I'm really, really glad I had that experience and had to repeat that class, because I had him again the next semester for a different class. And he died in his sleep of a heart attack 6 weeks into the trimester. So, it just kind of gave me a different perspective, because as some of the students, it's like they weren't totally talking trash about him, but they were just, they're fresh out of high school. Fresh out of undergrad, right? Still cocky, still just young, don't really know what's going on, haven't lived life. And I'm just like, you guys stop. I'm like, he had a family. And if you guys would have stopped to pay attention to his class and like really actually try to get something from it instead of just memorize everything, he could make a huge impact on you. And I learned that with another professor too. It's pretty incredible. It's like the voices around you and the defeats that you have can really stop you dead in your tracks and prevent you from living your best life. So it's, how can we mute those sounds that aren't helping you build up yourself and others around you, and become better from it? So why do we need to talk about persistence? Okay. So 3 categories that I want to hit on. We've got personally, how we need to be persistent personally, in our relationships, and as a wellness advocate. Okay. So a couple of these we talk about regularly in here, right? Our self-care. As a wellness advocate, we need to be taking care of ourselves, because we're trying to teach other people how to take care of themselves. And if we're not doing it ourselves, how can we expect other people to do it? So the question is, are you a constant product of the product? Do you use the LLV? Do you take any of the other supplements? And why are you taking them? Can you, are you using them enough so that you can say, hey, this is the experience that I had? Right now there's the whole healthy habits challenge going on. Do you have your own routine? And all that kind of stuff. So which oils do you use regularly? Which ones do you tie in sometimes? And then going into that is our personal development. Now I'll tell you, Kenzie talks about it all the time. Everybody talks about it all the time. This is one that I do struggle with because I have to be like hardcore intentional to make time to read anything or to listen to a podcast or anything like that. Because once my kids are up, having even 10 minutes to get that time in to just read a couple of pages or do my devotions or whatever is so hard. Yeah, it's really challenging for me. So I need to be more intentional with it. And part of it too, right, is I get caught in the Facebook scroll, because I, I convince myself, and I do. I mean, it's not that I don't, but it's like, it's my tool to see where people's needs are. So I do scroll to kind of see what people have going on and what are their needs and what's happening with their kids and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, I want to stop doing that because I want to change how I'm going about things. Not that I'm going to stop doing everything on Facebook, but I am going to stop how I do certain things. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. So personal development, right? Are you taking time to read and to find motivational podcasts and build yourself up? And then two, your physical environment. Are you keeping your physical space comfortable so that you're relaxed and able to function at your best? So my office is my example of this. So, I've got my oil shelf that my husband built me that I'm in love with, and my barn door that he put up that I love. But this room is really symbolic for me because this is a house that I grew up in from 4th grade. And if you heard my story before, I had a lot of health problems when I was younger. And when I had a significant setback both in 6th grade and in high school, this room is where I spent my sick time. So when my husband and I bought this house, I treated this room like crap because I didn't want to be in here. I didn't want to be in the house. I didn't want to be in this room. It was the same carpet. It was the same walls. My parents even left the stinking light fixtures, for goodness sakes. I mean, it was just like, are you kidding me? I want to get out of here. I can't stand it. But, they had a couch, there was an extra chair, and there was like a TV cabinet and all that kind of stuff. So it's like my mom literally just made the bed for me on the couch, and this is where I was sick. So to me, the physical space was just draining because it was just a constant reminder of that. So when I needed to have my own office and place to work out of, I said, let's use that room. And he's like, really? Because it was our junk room. It was our mud room. The carpet was trash. The dog crates were back here. It was just the dirty room catch-all. So ripped out the carpet, new flooring, new walls, new everything, turned it into my office. This is where I spend almost all of my time at home. Occasionally I'm in the kitchen, right, for meal prep, in the bathroom to get ready. Sometimes I'll be in the playroom with the kids, but more often than not, I will take their games and bring them back to my office and use my adjusting table as our game table. Because this is my comfortable space. Granted, we got to work on the rest of the house, but that's what I'm doing doTERRA so I can make the money to do it. So that's personally. Okay. So, are you a product of the product? Make sure that you know that. And two, not only doTERRA, but get outside, get fresh air. What else can you do to take care of yourself? Take a bath, make sure you're getting enough sleep, all the good things, right? I don't want to beat a dead horse. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So this is a big one for me because this is my life, right? It's like I was sick. I couldn't walk. I literally, for a period of time in my life, when I would take a shower, I couldn't even stand up. I had to sit down in the shower and then take a nap for 3 hours before I could get dressed. But it's just, you constantly have to keep doing something and keep moving forward. So I like that one. I've got lots of quotes in here, guys, just so you know. The next one is in relationships, okay? Because relationships are such a huge part of building a business as a wellness advocate. It's, you have your relationships with families, you have relationships with coworkers, and in your communities. Okay, so family's huge. Hopefully all of you guys, have a supportive family and they're part of your network and they're part of helping you, meet people and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like I know for me, my family is not super supportive. Nobody will have a class for me. My mom did and my mother-in-law did, like, initially, but they're like, yeah, no, we're done. My mom and mother-in-law are both on my team, but they order some for themselves. My parents are getting a little bit more into starting LLVN supplements, but like my brother, my sister-in-law, no. Or my husband's sister. So my brother and my husband's sister, we each only have one sibling. Neither one of them will have anything to do with helping me grow a business and meet people. None of them will give me referrals. So it's like, I got a really small family to begin with, but it's dead in the water. Okay. So then you got to look at coworkers. Some of you guys are doing doTERRA full time, which is awesome. Your coworkers is rock stars, right? It's having that support community to help build you up, and it's your team. So building the relationship with your team, building that trust foundation is huge, because they need to know who you are and you need to know who they are. So getting to know them is really, really important. And this is where I'm trying to branch out more, as in our communities. I'm active in my church. I'm involved in church. I tried to be involved at my kids' schools, but we're looking at switching schools now. So I'm not quite sure what's happening with all that. But that's been a huge heartbreaker for me. And one of the biggest struggles that I've had. So what I'm working on doing, and it's a huge push and a movement from our church right now over the summer, is that they're really encouraging us to get to know our neighbors. So, they said, do you know the names of every single person that lives on your block? Do you know the neighbors next to you? Do you know your neighbors across the street? Do you know what their needs are? Do you know their families? And it's like, the pastor's sitting here talking. He's like, what are their prayer needs? Do they need, babysitting? Do they need this support, that support? And I'm sitting here going, they all need oils. I just got to find out why, I'm like, I got to find out why, and I got to figure this out. And, so the nice thing is we had already done a huge backyard, not full renovation. I did a lot of it last year, but this year I did a lot more work on our backyard and getting the space really nice and neat and clean for my oldest son's graduation open house. So now we've got this rocking backyard. We've got a sparkling clean pool. We've got a nice fire pit in the back corner. We've got a naturescape playscape for the kids. We've got a swing set. I'm like, I'm having people over, right? So when I did Enrollment Envy, right? I think that's what it was called. Enrollment Envy with Brooke and Natalie a month or two ago. One of the people that was on there, she's like, I went door to door in my neighborhood and gave everybody a card. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that with a twist. I'm going to invite everybody to just come over for s'mores. Once they're here for s'mores, I'm going to tell them about who I am and what I do. Be like, dude, you need a chiropractor. You need help with your health. You need this, da, 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 da. Literally right down the street from you guys, right next door, right in your neighborhood. And just build that relationship before I bombard them like, hey, I do oils. What oils do you need? What's your health problems? Blah, 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 blah. It's getting to know them, because, that's one of the things too, that so many people, and I've experienced this too, right? I mean, it's like you get like this Facebook friend request from somebody that you knew 15, 20 years ago. And it's like the first message they send you is, hey, buy this stuff from me. And I'm like, yeah, I've done that. I'm like, totally shouldn't have, but I really have. So I'm like, okay, guilty. And I hate it when people do it to me. So I got to make sure I don't do that to other people. But at the same time, I'm finding that doing this through Facebook, a lot of people, even when I just reach out, like when I didn't screw it up and like jump on about the oils on my first message, even when I'm just trying to find out how they're doing and what's happening in their life, they're not responding to me. So I'm not quite sure if it's because they know that I do the oils because they see my posts, or they just don't want to talk to me. I don't know. So that's just, one area that I'm going to work on, and just kind of, want you guys to think of different ways that you can branch out too. Some of you may be more rural, but even if you're rural, that doesn't mean that you can't, build community with those that are around you, and just get to know them better, because each home has a community outside of their home as well that you don't know about. So even if you're talking to them about something and it doesn't hit them directly, they might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, right? I mean, it's just a spider web. So persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. So it really, just don't stop, you guys. So then how does it affect you as a wellness advocate? Okay. So asking and offering our help and assistance. So I struggle with this one a little bit because with being a chiropractor and a wellness advocate, it's kind of like they go together so incredibly well. But where do I draw the line with being like too pushy and not, but I've kind of come to a point now where I'm just like, you know what, when I see people that have problems, I'm like, dude, just call me, just call me, just call me, just call me. 90% of people like totally ignore me. Which is frustrating, because a lot of them be like, no, I've tried the chiropractor thing and it doesn't work. I'm like, dude, I'm not normal. I am so not normal. I do the applied kinesiology thing. It is so incredibly weird, but I am not normal and it works better than just getting your back cracked. So it's like continuously doing that and, always putting it out there and making sure people know that you're there. I do that on my personal page and it's like crickets all the time, right? Facebook page, it's crickets. I hardly ever get good responses from that. But then all of a sudden out of the blue, I'll have a message. What was it? 2-3 months ago? My husband's cousin just sent me this text message out of the blue. And she goes, hey, you do like doTERRA, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, can I get some lavender? Because we're going to, where are they going? I don't know. They're going to somewhere in the Amazon. And she's like, I heard that lavender is really good to put on after you get a mosquito bite. So I know I'm going to need some of that. And I'm like, well, how about you get some TerraShield too? So it's like, ended up doing that. And, she just bought products. She didn't get a kit or anything, but I'm like, she did that, which leads into the next thing of following up. So she just got back from her trip the beginning of June. So, it's like I didn't want to jump on her like the day she came home. So, I waited a little bit and, reached out to her. I'm like, how'd everything go? What did you end up using that you got? What did you like? What did you not like? And, just making sure that, they know that you remember and that you care. I had a class back in March and the host had enrolled before. And after her class, she said, I really want to do this as a business. Well, there were 4 people that enrolled at her class. And I said, okay. I said, now how do you want to do this with follow-up? I'm more than happy to follow up with them myself. If you want to follow them up with yourself or you follow up and we do a one-on-one with them together. I said, however you want to do it, but we just got to make sure they know how to use their stuff. So, it's like she's not stopped exactly that I know of, but she's not like, I didn't hear back from her very quickly. And now it's the middle of June and that was at the end of March. And I'm like, okay, I haven't seen any of those people order. So I'm just going to send them a text message, right? So out of the 4 of them, 2 of them responded. Both of them came in to see me yesterday, and I sent those messages Thursday night. So, that was a pretty quick turnaround, but one of them had a kidney stone. And she's like, yeah, oh, because one of the things that I offer to my team, my new team members, is I give everybody 1 free Symphony of the Cells massage. So once they're on the team, I want them to come in because doing a Symphony massage, right, it's oils that are outside of the kits. So it's educating them on some different oils, which is why I like to do those, the Symphonies. But then from there, okay, I lost my train of thought for half a second. So, it's like I was talking to her on the phone and I was like, oh, and I'm like, there's totally oils that can help you with this pain and help you with this stone. And she's like, I don't have to wait to come in for the massage. I'm like, no, you totally need to come in for a massage for it. We can do this particular protocol. And a lot of the oils in it are really helpful for kidney function and healthy cellular function. So we can try and get your body to get rid of this thing a little bit faster. She's like, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I followed up with you. So now you know. So she came in yesterday. Okay, kid you not. Okay. Talked to her. And within 12 hours, she placed a 212 PV order and bought 2 diffusers and is just like, and contacted Iris to get a car diffuser. And she came in for the massage on Monday. Tons of questions, learned a bunch. She's like, okay, I already have my order set up for next month and I'm going to start the LLV and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, if I hadn't followed up, where would she be? There wouldn't have been a 200 PV order there. She wouldn't be on LRP for next month. So it's like, okay, good. And one of the other people, right, because I said I heard back from 2 of them, the other one also came in yesterday. Now that one was totally crazy because it's like I messaged her and she goes, "Are you Courtney's mom?" And I'm like, "Oh crap." And I'm like, yeah. And I'm looking at her last name. I'm like, I've got nothing. I'm like, I have no idea whose mom this is. I can't place this at all. And then she goes, "You're Adam's wife then, right?" And I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, seriously, like my mind is going crazy. And she's like, "Oh, I'm Morgan's mom. This lady was at my house 10 days before, and I didn't even know it. Like, she's on my team. I actually talked to her and helped her get this kit at this class, but it was on the phone. So I hadn't seen her face because she couldn't make it, but she wanted to be a part of the class. So she called at the end and said, "Hey, what can I get?" So she ended up getting a kit, blah, blah, blah. But she came in, and I'm not kidding. I mean, it's like, it was just like this. I mean, it's like, she's like my soul sister. I mean, the stories that she told me, and it's incredible the way people will open up to you when you give them the opportunity. Because she mentioned a couple of times, she's like, "Well, we just moved, we just moved, we just moved." So I just kind of said, "Well, where did you move from?" Okay. No lie. Said, "Where did you move from?" You know what answer I got? The story of her marriage. I still don't even know where they moved from. Okay. But I got the whole story of her marriage, right? Because she had all of these emotions built up in her. And because I invited her, because I reached out to her, because I showed her I cared, she felt comfortable to open up to me and tell me what was going on. Okay. And she's placing a 200 PV order tonight because I put past tense on her neck while she was here. She texted me this morning. She's like, "I still feel more calm after having all of that on." She's like, "I need to get this." So she's placing emotions kit and blah, 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 getting that up to 200 to get the free stuff. Right. But that was all because I followed up. And even though it's been 2 months, it was still important. Okay. Because she didn't know how to use her stuff. The other lady had already been using her stuff. And the other thing is being a constant presence. So for that, I mean, it's me showing up in my groups, right? Because I have my public group, Live Healthy with Nature, and I have my private team group, and I'm just constantly showing up. I try and do one like bigger live educational video, live, whatever, that's more like a half hour, like a longer one. And then like in Live Healthy with Nature, I do a few days a week. I do oil of the day little clips, 5 to 10 minutes, just about one oil. And, it makes it real searchable because it's called Oil of the Day with the name of the oil, and that's it. So people can search for it and find it. I'm hoping to get through, the whole lineup over the next couple of months. And, we'll see where that goes from there. But it's like in my team group, I do, LRP club and all of those things just to kind of keep people going. I send a team email to catch the people that aren't on Facebook, right? Because not everybody is. And I don't want people to feel like they're not getting updates from me. So just, being a constant presence. How am I doing on time, Kenzie? So Vince Lombardi, okay? Winners never quit and quitters never win, okay? And it's not that we always have to get first place, right? Because that's like Crystal's thing, right? With the whole trip, she's always like, "Oh yeah, I got to get first." I'm not one that I'm like, I don't have to get first, but I would love to get there, I mean, it's like when we talk about, our vision boards and everything, I mean, it's like, I've got Presidential Diamond on there. And when I first started with doTERRA, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll be silver in no time." You guys, I'm looking at what, 2 years and 2 months that I've been here, and I'm Premier, and I'm not even solid Premier. I'm solid elite, but it's one of those things where it's like, I haven't quit. And I hit Premier, what was it, November? Like I hit Premier as a BOGO Premier, right? Which, hey, it's still Premier. But it's like, it's never quitting, okay? I'm not quitting just because I haven't hit silver. I haven't hit diamond yet. Obviously I'm not Presidential Diamond yet, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop. And it's like, I look at this sometimes and it's like, I see Jen Yates and she's a diamond and she's been at this about the same time frame that I have. But I'm like, I mean, our circumstances are different, right? I mean, not that I'm using my family as an excuse, but it's like I'm still working as a chiropractor and I have my little kids and my big kids. So it's like, I wish I could spend more time on this, but it's like, I have to be gracious with myself and my family and realize that, okay, I'll get there. I'm not quitting. Slow and steady wins the race. but I'm not going to quit. So I like this one from Calvin Coolidge a lot. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. So what's next? You got to make a plan, right? I'm great at making plans and starting to follow through on them. But it's like getting to the end of it is huge. So figure out what your personal weakest link is. Okay. So is there a time of day that you kind of hit rock bottom, or is there something that about the day that, I just don't want to do that, or, I hate when that time comes. Can you kind of reframework your day and get that weakest link out of the way earlier, or have a plan for when that comes of, okay, this is what I have to do right now. So for me, it's like, that middle of the day, end of the day, all my kids are starting to melt down because the little ones are tired, and this one has that, and this one has that. And it's like, everybody's just kind of like a hot mess. And it's like, okay, what can you do to prepare for that before it happens? So, for me, it's getting oils on my little ones before they're full blown after the meltdown happens. And it's making sure that everybody has like good protein in their system also to prevent that from happening. And just, figure out what your thing is. Cause I know like if my kids hit that, right? Like that time of day has always been like crappy for me anyways, without my kids having it be crappy. So when my kids hit it and I hit it at the same time, it is ugly. So, plan for that, be ready for it, and just hit it. Right. And the confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins, not through strength, but through persistence. Okay. The rock's solid. It's not going anywhere, but the stream is able to wear away at it because it's just constantly flowing against it and it doesn't stop. So yeah, I think that's all I got, Kenzie. That's it.
Awesome. That was fantastic.
Thanks.
So good. So good. Who wants to share? Who had a takeaway or wants to share something relatable to what Dana shared with us?
Naturally, I have something. I always have something.
Good.
Dana, your ability to keep going comes a lot from your illnesses, and I have the same type. It really helps to have something that you can say, oh yes, this is why I do this. And there are some people that don't have that, and it's not like I'm wishing something on them, but I'm really grateful that I do and that you do, and we can take that and use that. So,
for sure.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. It's, it is. It's one of those things like that Maya Angelou quote, it's like I've had so much crap that's happened, but now that I look, I'm going to be 40 this fall. I can look back and be like, man, and I'm like, I have been through so much. And granted, it's like there's a lot of things that I've been spared, and I can look at it from that perspective too, but I have been through the ringer, physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally. And, some of it sucks, but all of it has taught me so much that has made me the person that I am. So it's like, I can sit here and be like, okay, yeah, I am thankful that I've been through that because now I know what to do and what not to do. So.
You did awesome, Dana.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny that you said something about all of your neighbors, because that's something that I can't remember who was at the diamond retreat now, but that is one of the things that they talked about at the diamond retreat that I just went to in Sundance, or Gina's thing,
okay.
The Truman retreat.
Yeah.
They said that if you are not moving forward, walk out your front door and look at your neighbors' homes. If they are not enrolled, you should be talking to them, building the relationship with them, and enrolling them. So that's awesome.
Yep. Now I just got to do it.
You got this. You know, like, I think it's just interesting because from my perspective, right? Like, I've been doing this for like a decade now, helping people through this, and you go through seasons of nurturing yourself. You go through seasons of collecting leads. You go through seasons of planting seeds. You go through seasons of you can't keep up, like you're so overwhelmed because you have so many classes and so many enrollments and so much to do. You go through seasons where nothing's happening. You know, you go through seasons where your family's first. You go through seasons where your family is second. You know, it's just interesting that it's just fun to watch. You know, it's fun to watch. And this was last week, Latarin asked me to look for a video. So I was looking on this rock star's YouTube channel that we have. And number one, just scrolling through there and watching just on the little clip of just the videos of how much people have changed. Like, if you think you are stalling out and you have been on these calls for a few years, get on the Rockstars YouTube channel and scroll back in time, because you'll just be amazed at the evolution that has taken place. So thank you so much for sharing tonight. I think this was great. I love your PowerPoints. I love how real you are. I appreciate you willing to share your struggles. You know, like several times through this call, you've said, and this is what I'm working on. This is what I have pinpointed as something I could do better, or I'm going to try differently, or whatever. So I think that you have an amazing awareness, and you got a lot going for you.
Thanks.
You got a lot going on. I'm excited.
I am too.
Good.
Gotta get busy because I haven't given up on the Hawaii trip, but man, I got a heck of a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, Hawaii would be fun.
I think that you nailed it right on the head with you got to give grace.
Yeah.
Like, you have to give grace where grace is due. And just because you're not moving forward does not mean you are failing.
Yeah.
You are just at a time and a place where you need to give yourself some grace.
Right. And I think I messaged you about that last month because it's like I felt really crappy about it in May because it's just, you know, I mean, I had so many personal life things going on that I wasn't touching my business as much as I wanted to. And, you know, but I needed to take that time to focus on Trevor because it's like he was graduating and I knew that he was going to be moving out, but he wouldn't tell me. And it's one of those things where it's like I needed to be there, you know, and he had event after event after event after event, plus Bodie started T-ball, you know, and all these things. And it's like, you know, I wanted to be present for that, but it's just like, man, I looked at my numbers and I'm like, oh my gosh, these suck. You know, because I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, it's like I barely eked out my executive numbers. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it's like I looked at my numbers last week and I'm like, well, I already beat my executive numbers because I'm already at my elite numbers, you know, and it's like I still have 2 more weeks and I haven't even enrolled anybody yet this month and I plan to enroll people. So I'm like, maybe this, you know, hit my premier, or maybe I'll still get to silver, you know, because I mean, I'm one of those that never says die very quickly. You know, I mean, my team can be down by 20 points with 30 seconds left. I'm like, they can still do it. I'm like, come on.
That's right.
But
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut off the recording so we can open up this conversation a little bit. Sorry for those of you who aren't on the live call, but it's about to get juicy probably.